And we're live, Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Developers. I'm your host, Connor. I'm here with my friend Thunderbiscuit. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm really good. So we've got 9 in the chat so far. We've got our friend Oof Parlor, first channel I'm following on Twitch. Appreciate it. Glad we could be your first. So today we're going to continue doing our live coding and our workshops. Today we're focused on Android development, and the first episode we did was based on something called the BDK, or the Bitcoin Development Kit, which we'll talk about at a high level in a moment. But it's really designed to make it really quick for you to be able to build a Bitcoin wallet over a weekend or a few days, or if you're super efficient, even in a few hours. So we're going to dive headfirst into that, specifically on the Android platform. But before we do all of that kind of stuff, how about Thunderbiscuit, you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your journey into Bitcoin development.
Yeah, sure. Cheers. Thanks for having me on the show. I watched the first 2 episodes. That's awesome. I got into Bitcoin just like everybody else. You step one foot into this sort of quicksand, and before you know it, that's it. You're done for. It's all consuming, and I'm originally, my background is in statistics, and I started writing software. And once I got into software, it was the same thing. It was never-ending source of curiosity and just like awesomeness for me. So I kept going and kept going, and here I am.
Yeah, just dive down that rabbit hole and kind of never look back, kind of thing.
That's what Raj was talking about, and that's exactly what happened to me too.
Yeah, exactly. So, what about the name Thunderbiscuit? Where does that come from?
Oh yeah, I didn't know, and this was like, I didn't really care that much, and I was just looking for something cool. But my thunder is like a word that my brother and I, kid stuff, but when we were kids, we would say before we needed some sort of, we were about to do something that required courage, or something, like, say jumping off a cliff into water or whatever. And so we'd scream and then do it, whatever. So I knew I wanted to use that, but that's a handle that's taken everywhere. It's just too common. So I needed another word. And I've always liked the word biscuit. I don't know why. I think it's a great word of the English language.
Okay, interesting. So you're almost like mustering up the courage to eat biscuits, or is it like biscuits or like your favorite snack? Because I'll be honest, I love a biscuit. I'm not gonna lie. I love a biscuit. Like, we have these chocolate McVitie's digestives that like are my Achilles heel, like very dangerous. I've been eating them since I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I'm still eating them till this day. Inflation has caused the price of the per packet to go up drastically, but that hasn't stopped me packing my cupboards with them. So yeah, interesting stuff.
I want to see them. I don't think I've ever had them.
Yeah. All right, so quick question: are BDK and LDK used together always? Okay, yeah, we'll answer that in a second, actually. That might lead, in fact, that leads us on nicely. So like today we're going to use something called the BDK, the Bitcoin Development Kit. And I prefaced it a little bit by saying it's a tool to allow us to build mobile applications, Bitcoin mobile wallet specifically, a lot quicker. It abstracts away a lot of like the low level logic around making Bitcoin wallets. How do you kind of see Bitcoin Development Kit, or how would you explain it to people?
I think I explained Bitcoin as the library you want to pull as one of your dependencies. If you're not a Bitcoin developer necessarily, you can use it if you're a Bitcoin developer, but I don't think you need to be like super deep into Bitcoin to be able to leverage some of their things. So they offer high level constructs that are, if you're familiar with Bitcoin or you need to integrate it, you need to either, watch some addresses, or there's all sorts of things you might want to be able to do that the Bitcoin Dev Kit exposes to you like really, really simply, compared to if you think of like the libraries upon which it relies, like Rust Bitcoin, which has like all the nitty gritty, the really the deep Bitcoin stuff. The Bitcoin wallet is mostly geared towards wallets, and it's got everything you need. Simple. You'll see today what we're gonna do. We achieve like a pretty advanced level of functionality, right? What you would expect of a basic Bitcoin wallet, and it's done in one file. How in a few files, say, and they're all under 150 lines of code. So that's a crazy good feat.
Is it safe to say that prior to something like the BDK, if you wanted to create a wallet, it would be like quite an undertaking and quite a time consuming endeavor, in that like you'd have to implement a lot of stuff that was very close to the protocol, and it very much has a lot of security implications, and a lot of things can go wrong when you're operating at that kind of lower level. Whereas now we've taken like much of the commonalities that would be apparent in any wallet for the most part, and kind of abstracted them away, so developers don't have to worry about some of that stuff.
Yes, well, I'd say there's two things there. One, some of that was already available, but it was like fragmented, right? It's like every language basically has to have their own library, and so those deep level constructs have to be built into each of the languages that you want to use the libraries for, and so that then it's a wave of like, depending on what library and who's basically developing them, how they're maintained, tested, those sorts of things. You have different degrees of trust between them. But also the Bitcoin Dev Kit, yes, does that. And for particularly for Rust, which is what the Bitcoin Dev Kit is written in, it wasn't available before, really, that sort of like high level library where it's just like take it and leave it and go kind of thing. You're ready to go. Yeah. So
Yeah, got you.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just no, you go ahead. You finish your point and then I'll jump in.
I think an important part of the story for the Bitcoin Dev Kit is that the idea is to bring together a lot of people that code in different languages for different types of applications, and put all eyes on a single repository, a single source of code that then you can leverage from different languages. And so if you've heard the saying of with enough eyes on the code, all bugs are shallow, that's sort of the idea.
Yeah.
You want to put as many eyes on the code as you can on this one single library. It's always really well maintained. I mean, the repository is just firing if you compare it to a lot of the libraries of different languages. And so, and you can trust that the latest thing are coming, right? So like, because Bitcoin is just always so quickly evolving, right? If you're thinking of like Taproot, you want to ask yourself, if you code in Dart, is the library like up to speed with the latest Taproot stuff in Dart? Probably not, right? It hasn't been touched in 3 months or something. No offense to these people. It's just like, it's a lot to write, and it's a lot of very dangerous code. And so the Bitcoin Dev Kit relies on Rust Bitcoin, and the Rust family of Bitcoin libraries is very well known. It's some of the most well-tested code, certainly for Bitcoin. And so it's that's what the Bitcoin Dev Kit sort of relies on. And then from there, we're in the process of trying to build language bindings that allow you to use it from different languages.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And just to quickly go back to question, are BDK and LDK used together? They can be, and we are seeing some developers choose to build wallets in this way, but they're also designed to be used independently. So say you have an existing Bitcoin wallet and you want to add Lightning based features, LDK is a good option for that. But they can also be used together independently. You might just want to do the on-chain part of Bitcoin using BDK, and then the off-chain like Lightning Network stuff with LDK, so you can mix and match as you kind of see fit. And just to quickly touch on the language binding stuff as well. So can you expand a little bit on that? So this is the kind of idea that like these libraries are the designed to help improve the developer experience, but we want people to be able to be onboarded in their preferred language or the language that they're most comfortable in. So BDK and LDK, although the core libraries are written in Rust, there is support for C++ and C, Python, and the mobile languages such as Java, Kotlin on Android, and Swift on iOS as well. So can you talk to that, some of that stuff a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the part that I'm most comfortable with. I'm not even like a day-to-day Rust developer. Like I understand like the basics of the code base, but most of what I do is Android. So I write like I'm a Kotlin mostly developer, and so my main focus. I was one of the maintainers on BDK Gen I, which was the older language bindings, and now we've moved on. We've moved on to a more easier to use and more wide-ranging library that allows us to create language bindings for, like you said, Kotlin, which JVM, the whole JVM, so Java, Kotlin, Swift for iOS, and I'm working on the Python language bindings as well with help from other contributors from the Bitcoin Dev Kit. And those are, they're pretty simple things. I mean, the BDK and LDK have taken different approaches to language bindings, but they roughly achieve the same. And so what you need is to allow the memory management. Often that's the core problem there, because you're playing between two different memory models. If you think of like a Python object that lives and dies, but it's actually mapping to Rust in the back, so you need to connect those properly. And for Bitcoin Dev Kit, we're using a library developed by Mozilla.
Okay.
You guys have been fantastic with us. Like, we've opened a bunch of issues and they've answered all our questions. And basically, it just allows you to create that glue between the two. And we are publishing. So, for example, the Kotlin and the Swift libraries are published on Maven Central and the main repository for iOS. And as a user of them, you're not even aware. There's native code in the backend and in the background that allows you to connect with all of that, but you're not. You're just using it as a Kotlin library. Same for Python. So it's a really neat
architecture
once you got it going. But it's
a
bit of work to get it going.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And then just lastly, before we jump in, we're going to be doing Android development, mobile development today. Could you maybe speak to why BDK is suitable for that environment as well? Just before you do, can I use JavaScript, React? So I'm not aware of any language bindings in BDK for JavaScript, but we have just released some an alpha package with JavaScript bindings, and you can find it on npm if you just type in Lightning Dev Kit. So there is some possibilities for you to play around with LDK in the browser as well. So just head over to npm and type in Lightning Dev Kit, and you can have a little play around there. But yeah, talk to like why BDK is kind of suitable to like the mobile environment.
Well, I want to also mention for the previous question there that there was discussion about WASM bindings, or I'm not privy to all of that. I'm not sure how that's going, but it's possible there that you could use through WASM, maybe connect with JS. I'm not sure, but certainly no one's doing it like at the moment right now in production.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin Dev Kit is amazing for Android. It's because it's not opinionated, right? It doesn't make any decisions for you. It comes out of the gate with a bunch of stuff that are super useful to build wallets, and it allows you to connect to different sources of block data that you want. So if you have a full node, if you have, we're connecting to an Electrum server today, or it could be another, neutrino or SPV node, for example. Bitcoin Dev Kit is just open for business. Everything works. So loving it.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So let's start to dive straight in. I'll move things around a little bit here so we can kind of get in our pair programming view. So let's have a look here. So if I share my screen here, my entire screen, Just let me know when you can see that. Yeah, I think we're all good.
Yeah.
Just before we dive in as well, so you can follow Thunderbiscuit at Thunderb__, I believe that is.
Yeah,
If you
two
want to
underscores.
follow his work. Also has a blog at thunderbiscuit.com. And you can follow him on GitHub as well. And there's a few other kind of I guess tutorial focused websites as well that he's doing that we can link to towards the end of the show. So yeah, just to bring some more eyes onto this is the Bitcoin Dev Kit documentation. So you can have a kind of like a peruse round and kind of see what the library is all about in a bit more detail.
Anybody interested in a Bitcoin Dev Kit? I think the coolest thing you can do with it right now is get the CLI. You can play with the CLI within minutes. It gives you testnet wallets. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. It's in your terminal. So if you're familiar with your terminal, you'll be going in no time, and it's fun, and it'll work you through like the workflow of using the Bitcoin Dev Kit, and it exposes a lot of the core ideas behind it. So it's fun.
Awesome. All right, cool. So I'm ready to learn how to use BDK in an Android environment now. So where do I start, man? How we doing this?
Let's do it. So I have a wallet I've developed called a DevKit wallet. DevKit for Bitcoin DevKit. And so you have it here. And I think that's a great place to start. I've created a branch for us today that I call Twitch Stream, and you should be able to pull the repository in that branch, and from there we can start playing around with it if you want.
All right, cool. So this is a fully fleshed out wallet essentially that's kind of running on Bitcoin's testnet, which is like just a test environment where I guess the coins don't have any real world value, let's say. And you've also got like a companion site along with it where people can like I guess follow along and do some tutorials on there as well. All right, that's really cool.
Yeah, website. So if people you're interested at home, you want to take a weekend to go over it, the website will walk you through how to build a wallet. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna clone this into one of my project folders. So let's see here. Cool. So I'll clone that. I'll cd into DevKit wallet, and then I will check out. So that branch was called Twitch Stream. Yeah. So
Stream
branch. Okay. Cool. And then I think I want that origin. Cool. That seemed to work. That's all good. So I've cloned the repository. I've checked out that Twitch branch. What am I up to now? Where do I go next?
So do you have an application called Android Studio?
I do. So this is what we're talking about here. So this is like I guess this is the main IDE if you want to do like Android development and stuff. There is like IntelliJ as well, I believe you can use, but like if you want to do Android development, this is the go-to tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Android Studio is a branch, is a sort of fork maintained by Google of IntelliJ. So if you're familiar with IntelliJ, it's very similar, and you can develop Android applications on IntelliJ as well. But yeah, Android Studio is optimized and it's got cool features. Yeah.
Okay, so I already downloaded it in preparation for this. So let's head over to Android Studio and see what's going on there.
And I think you were saying you have an emulator as well?
I do, yeah. So I have an emulator already installed. So okay, so I'm here. Welcome to Android Studio. So I just want new project.
No, you click on open.
So, okay, I want to open.
And then you'll have to go and pick your...
Yeah. And then I want dev kit and open. Okay, cool. So it's just firing up the project here for us. Guess I can make this pane a little bit smaller. Okay, so I don't see like my project files and stuff yet. I'm assuming.
No, it'll take a little bit of time there.
Okay, so there's okay, we're still loading. Okay, no problem.
And where it says Android there, you can click on that and choose project instead.
Got you.
Yeah, that's the typical view you're used to if you're using VS Code for other things or whatnot.
Okay. It's very shouty, isn't it? There's a lot of pop-ups going on. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, the first time I used IntelliJ, I thought it was a big mess. There's a lot going on, lots of buttons.
Yeah,
but it's really
okay. Cool. So it looks like I've opened the project now. And do we want to have a quick overview of like file structure and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah. So the basic Android application has a lot of data that lives around the source code. So that's the files you're seeing there, the folders like Gradle, IDEA, the README, the Gradle.properties, all that sort of stuff. That helps the compiler, like the build tool. Sorry, the build tool is called Gradle on for JVM projects. You can use it for other languages as well, but it's a really powerful tool that allows you to configure how you're going to compile things when you're building. So, but it's a bit, it's a decent amount of work to learn how to use well. So, but it's worth taking the time. But for us today, Gradle, I've set up the files. It'll work cleanly.
So Gradle's like like your it manages your dependencies and stuff like that. You can kind of look at it like if you're coming from JavaScript land, maybe like a Webpack, or if you're coming from the Rust world, like Cargo. Is it of the same kind of
yes
thing?
Yeah. Yes, except that Cargo, typically you'd have like a small file, cargo.toml, where you define some of the properties of how you want it to do, but Gradle has more into it. That's for the complexity of the build is all built into that, whereas in Rust you'd write those files in Rust directly. In the case of Android and JVM projects, you write them in Kotlin. But yeah, it's very similar. So if you look at the app folder, you'll find this is where the juice is. The build.gradle.kts is an important file. You should take a look at it.
Okay.
This has the setting for how we're going to compile the app, how we're going to build it, and there's a ton of versions of things you can do when you build an Android app, right? It has to play with different versions of the Android operating system. It has to have versioning systems. It has to it can compile in different types, so like debug, release, or even different versions of release. You can have an alpha or beta release, whatever. All of that is configured in this file there. And this is also the file where you'll find your dependencies. So if you scroll down, should be
here we go. So
line 54 there.
54. Okay.
Yeah. This is where we've defined the Bitcoin DevKit dependency.
Okay, so where would this like be hosted? Because like I'm just thinking JavaScript world, you have like npm. I can find it on npm. What is the like package manager repository for like all of these dependencies? Is it like, well, I guess I know what it is. It's like Maven. So
it's called
let's just have a look at that. Yeah, let's quickly have a look at that just so people are aware. So Maven Central.
There's actually a few different places where your repositories can be hosted, including your local environment. So you could have dependencies. You could have repositories that are like local to your computer. or local to an organization, say private company. You work at Square. Square probably has like a local private repository where they have their own versions of their packages. But there, if you type Bitcoin dev kit, I think it'll come up for you.
Okay, cool. So, okay, BDK Android. It looks
Android.
like.
And you can see that we have 3 different artifacts there. There's BDK Android, BDK JVM, and
okay, and so if I click into version, and then so we've got different ways in which we can include it into a project. Because we're using Gradle and Kotlin, it gives us like this the ability to copy this piece of code here, which is basically what we've done here in Android Studio, yeah. And that's how you include. That's basically just how you include any dependency, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Implementation followed by the name. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. And then all of these other ones, I guess some of these more just like based around UI frameworks that you can use, and I see stuff around like QR generators, JUnit for testing. Okay, so there's a navigation toolbars. Okay, cool.
That's exactly it. You'd have your dependencies at the bottom, and then the rest are more, small little configurations.
Got you.
But that's the gist of what we need, and that when you loaded up the project here, Android Studio started downloading those dependencies for you already. So they should already be available to you. You could go, and so the code completion will work for you. If you tried typing something that requires one of those, they'll show up and you'll be able to use them. So the Bitcoin dev kit will be already part of the app there, and you'll be able to leverage the IDE.
Okay, that sounds cool. All right.
Do you want to?
Yeah, we can move to the next thing.
Go on. So the next sets of files for Android are under the source directory there.
Cool.
You have a main and a test, and this app doesn't have a lot of tests. I think I have one small test, but
okay.
The core of it is in this main directory. You've got the Java directory and the resources directory, and you can think of the Java one. It says Java, but actually it's Kotlin code.
That's nice and confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. Totally. And it's like a common question you find on Stack Overflow and on forums, but it's just historical. But Java and Kotlin are interoperable, so you can like write. Some files can be in Kotlin, some files can be in Java. It'll all work. In the case of this application, everything's in Kotlin though. And so this is the equivalent of like the muscles on your body. So, or the JS in a website, if you've done like front end development, that would be your JS. And then the resources are where you're going to find static files. And in Android, they're all in XML format, which is hard on the eyes. Yeah, if you click on one, there's a lot of stuff. If you go into the layout one, maybe.
Layouts.
And if you...
so this is like... I guess just defining like the skeleton and the UI for
exactly
for your project.
And the IDE has a few different views for you. So right now, if you look at top right corner there, do you see where your little tab is chosen as design, but you could have or code? Try one of those. So here you're going to see the XML code for the view that
got you.
The screen that you're seeing.
Okay.
And actually, you're sort of on an underlying view. You should look at another file maybe to get a good sense.
Let's see here. How do I open this back?
Project.
Okay. Okay.
If you pick fragment wallet choice, say.
Fragment wallet choice. Okay.
So this is our first sort of screen where it'll offer us to either create a new wallet or recover. And if you look at the split panel there, so you can see the code.
Yeah.
As as you hover over things, you'll see that they correspond, like an HTML. Yeah, see the image
Okay.
there, and then there's a text view, which is the title.
Okay.
And
So if is it live? It's live reloading, I guess, as well.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. Nice.
And so those XML elements have a ton of properties defined on them, including margins and whatever. So it's a mix of like HTML, but all of your CSS inline in it.
Yeah.
It's,
got you. So does the fragment represent a screen? Like a fragment is a screen in essence, yeah?
Yep, that's a really good question. A typical Android app is usually lives into what's called an activity, and that's like the bigger part. You could compare it to like your website, for example. And then within an activity, you'll have a bunch of fragments, and those would be equivalent like your web pages. And in Android, they'll be the screens. So when you navigate between screens, the word for that on Android is fragment.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's how my fragments are defined. They're in XML format. Maybe a small parenthesis on this is that the world is moving into declarative programming. When we write user interfaces, this type of idea where like we do imperative programming, right? You have these big UI, and then they have state, and then we write commands as to like what this state should be, and we change this UI. This is an older way of doing user interface, and React ushered the new sort of like the new era of how we deal with user interface, which is declarative programming. And Swift UI does that as well. React on the web, Vue frameworks, and they've arrived on Android as well about 6 months ago. It's called Jetpack Compose. And but this app is not using this technology yet. Open for contributors. So if you're an Android dev listening to this right now and you've worked with Jetpack Compose, you want to open a PR, we'll take it.
Yeah, awesome. And someone just asked, can you interactively move the elements on the right hand side? Yeah, I just done that literally just now, so that's pretty handy as well, I guess, if you don't want to have to type out small little changes like that and you just want to move things around just like by hand. I guess that's a nice tool to have as well.
There's a level,
and it updates I'm assuming like it updates as well the code on the left hand side as well.
That's right. Yeah, so it's pretty neat. You can do a lot of things with it.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
So these layout files, these resources there, I'll have like images, you see drawables, fonts will be there, my themes. So all my color schemes are all defined in there, the strings, the values for the strings. So if you want to have apps that are available in multiple languages, for example.
And are these available? So like this theme, like color strings, is available just across the whole project, or do you have to like import them per fragment, I guess?
No, in this case, they'll be available for the whole project. Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm using them in my attributes for the layouts. You would be able to find some of those themes and whatnot in my layouts.
Cool. And someone asked, so the XML files are being replaced with the Jetpack Compose?
That's right. Yeah.
Cool.
We're moving away from all of that. Now you'll be programmatically defining user interface.
Cool. All right. Nice. Where do you want to go now from here?
I say we fire it up, man.
All right. Cool.
Have you ever done that? You worked with the emulator here?
I have done it in the past, but let's walk through it. So when we say firing it up, I think we mean we want to actually get a mobile device of some sort running the actual application. I guess there's many ways or a few ways you can do it. You could do it on like a physical device. Is that right?
Yeah.
But for the purposes of this stream, we're gonna run a simulator on it or an emulator.
Yeah, exactly. I love playing with it, like with a real phone. I think it's awesome if you get the chance. It's easy to set up for people listening. Like it's worth it. But you can also have an emulator, and the emulators are really interesting because they also allow you to play with devices that you don't own. Right? You don't need a particular device, so you can try an emulator for a device you don't have that's really, really small screen or really, really big screen. You could try something like a tablet you don't have a tablet at home, but if you have an emulator for a tablet, it allows you to see what your app is going to look like on those. So
Okay, so how do we see these emulators? Where do we go?
I think top right, there might be an emulator option somewhere there. Is that AVD?
Okay.
Yep, that's right. If you click on that.
Okay, so I already had a emulator installed because they do take a little bit of time to install. But just going off what you said around having the ability to build on different devices, is that available here? I'm assuming create virtual device, and then you have all of these different Google devices from the most modern devices and operating systems to ones that are a bit older.
Nexus, yeah.
You've also got the Nexus phone here as well. What else have we got? We've got. I think they have wearables as well, like
foldable. Yeah, stuff I've never tried, but like on the left-hand side, TV even.
Oh yeah.
What if we ran the Bitcoin Dev Kit on TV?
Yeah,
great.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, wearables.
Okay, and we've got some tablets here.
Yeah, wearables would be a great example of maybe like somebody building a range of applications. They don't necessarily need to be a super deep Bitcoin developer, but you want to be able to display a QR receive address on your watch because somebody wants to pay you or something. So you could use a Bitcoin Dev Kit for that. It's quick and easy.
Cool. All right, so this is basically you just install this device and have it running locally on your machine. Okay, cool. So we've already installed the Pixel 4a with the API 30. So yeah, I guess we can try and fire it up and see how we get on. So let's see. So if we click on this run app button, I guess it will build and compile and run.
That's right. If you had your phone connected, you'd have a drop down there that would offer you between the emulator and your phone. But right now it should start in the emulator.
Okay. So we're just firing up here. So while the emulator is firing up, let's see if we have any questions. So does the testing environment enable you to run over all the emulating devices? Does the testing environment is the testing environment able to run over all the emulating devices? Not quite sure I understand the question.
No, I'm not sure either. Do you mean the testnet coins type thing, or test as in?
Let's see. Chuck. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm sorry. If you could clarify a little bit more, we'll obviously happy to answer that question. Andrew. Hello, Andrew. You're right. Yeah. Oh no, when you run when you run unit tests, I see.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes, you can get those tests. There's different a range of tests for Android, and some of them are run in emulators. They're not appearing on your screen, but you can run them in emulators. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm seeing an app, so it looks like it built and it's running on the device now. So that's pretty cool. We have our home screen here. It looks like Bitcoin testnet, create a new wallet button, recover an existing wallet button. Awesome. Okay.
So I've disabled the recover an existing wallet button. So you could try clicking on that, for example, and you can see that it doesn't navigate to anything. Cool. But if you create a new wallet, let's see what happens. Okay. Cool. So you've got a wallet created. We have a few buttons there. But one thing you'll notice is that if you go to the receive button, this would be the place where you'd maybe generate a new address so people can send you Bitcoin. And if you try that, at the moment, it doesn't generate, there's no address there, and the QR code, is not a Bitcoin address.
Okay, cool. But we do know that with Twitch stream with me, so that's
we're on the right path.
Yeah, we know we're on the right path at least. Okay, cool. So we're going to replace some of that, I guess. We will replace that with an actual Bitcoin address. So cool.
But another thing I'd like you to try is if you do the back to wallet button there,
Yeah.
and top right, the three little hamburger buttons or whatnot. If you look at the recovery phrase on this,
Oh,
there's no seed phrase saved. And this is happening because we don't actually have a Bitcoin Dev Kit wallet loaded right now on this. So if you try
got
any other buttons that require the Bitcoin Dev Kit, I think you'll find the app will crash.
okay. Do we want to try and crash it?
Yeah, try crashing it by syncing or
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can just load it back up by clicking back into it, I guess. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. So we have like just a skeleton here basically, and we're gonna fill in all of the Bitcoin specific parts.
Exactly. The navigation still works, but our methods are empty right now. There's a few methods that are just empty.
Cool. Just to hype us up a little bit, man, this is so cool. This is my first look into app development. Holy crap. Yeah, man.
Let me just say this. Android is epic. And I did a bit of web before, and I just thought that Android was just, I don't know, too hard, or I didn't know. But I love it. It's great. And it's not particularly hard. It's just, and it's really well defined. So you know what you have to do, and there's tools are really there. So it's, yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
Cool. All right. Let's start filling in some of this, giving this skeleton some flesh.
Yeah. So if you do take a look at the wallet choice fragment file there. That's a Kotlin file. It's the last one.
Okay, this one here.
Yeah, that one.
Fragment. Yeah.
And you can okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
And if you look at my line 38, I wrote Twitch stream with Connor.
Okay, cool.
What's happening is that just to give you sort of a rough idea of how Android works here at this point, we create these fragments. They are Kotlin classes, and this one is called wallet choice fragment. Yeah. You see how it extends the colon and then fragment. It means it extends the fragment class.
Got you.
And the fragment class is provided by the Android framework. So it comes with a whole slew of like goodies and things you can do, and metadata and important things.
Okay.
And part of that is this binding. You're seeing it on line 28.
28. Okay, yeah.
What this does is it inflates our layout. So the XML file that we looked at earlier, actually we looked at that very one, it will inflate that and provide an object that is then available in the class for us. It's called the binding, like the variable, the object is called binding. From that binding, I can access whatever elements of the UI I gave an ID to. So the image, the title, both buttons, I gave them IDs. The same way you'd give an element ID, an HTML, and they're available to us.
So can we go over to the XML and find like the corresponding ID? Sorry. So what layout am I looking for here?
So that would be going back into your project, and in the layout.
Yeah, here.
Fragment wallet choice.
Okay.
And you can maybe toss the emulator to the side for now.
Okay.
And look at the button for create new wallet.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, line 40 has an ID.
Got you. So it's got an ID of new wallet button. And does this correspond somewhere in our onCreate?
Exactly. And this is line 37. At line 37, I grab my binding and I say, one of your properties is called new wallet button. I want to do something to it. And what I do is I set up a click listener, a set on click listener, basically.
Okay, so this is just this button instance has a set of event handlers or event listeners.
Exactly.
responds to, in this case, a click, and then we can do some things.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So I'm grabbing this button, and I put whatever is in that those curly brackets after the set on click listener is what will be triggered upon tap.
Got you. All right,
It's really a tap
pretty.
on Android. In mobile, we should say a tap.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool, pretty straightforward. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense so far.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, I'm with you.
And so what's happening here is a few lines, but the most important one is 39, wallet.create wallet.
Mm-hmm.
And once I've done that, we fire up the next. This is sort of like the navigation to the next activity with a fragment.
Okay, so let me pause you there 1 second. So wallet.create wallet, are we using BDK at this point?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So we have a wallet. So I'm just looking at the import. So what this wallet that we've imported is coming from a file you've defined where you've exported some wallet functions, I'd imagine. So if we head over to wallet.
And that I was going to tell you about this, but you did it sort of like naturally. But this is one of the neat things about Android Studio IntelliJ. You press Command on your Mac, and you click on anything, and it'll bring you to source code. And it can be internal, it can be one of their libraries, anything. So it's a neat thing.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So let me just go back 1 second again. So we have not there. Where am I going? Yeah, here. So okay, so we have this wallet. Let's just say a wallet class. I'm not super familiar with like Kotlin terminology just yet, but we have this wallet class that exposes a create wallet function, and this create wallet function doesn't do anything just yet. Okay, so that's where we're gonna, as you mentioned, we don't have a BDK wallet instance set up yet. So I'm assuming we're gonna write some of that.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what's coming. And the cool part there is that my wallet object, this is a design pattern called singleton. If you're familiar with that idea, is that there'll ever only be one of those objects. And so from anywhere in the app, this wallet object is accessible, and you can call any of its method, and it's always the same instance of that object. And that object we define a bunch of methods on, and this is the only object that knows, quote unquote, about the Bitcoin dev kit. Anybody in the app who wants to talk Bitcoin has to talk to the wallet, and once you talk to the wallet, it'll fire up your requests to the appropriate locations. Basically, a lot of it is just to the Bitcoin dev kit, but some of it is not. So the wallet object is the one file you want to look at. If you're interested, you're watching the stream tomorrow, you can take a look. The wallet file is really where the Bitcoin dev kit is being leveraged.
Nice, very cool. And then just to finish off this binding event on click listener. So yeah, we're gonna create a wallet, and then we're gonna, I don't know what an intent is, but this is basically saying is I'm gonna guess it's like is this gonna take us to like the next screen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're navigating between activities in this case, and we're doing this through an intent. You're letting the exactly.
Awesome. And then activity. Okay, cool. So shall I head back over to creating the wallet? Function? Okay.
Yeah. Do that. So creating our wallet requires a few things from us. Just take a look at what I have. I have some notes for us, but
no worries.
The first thing is we want to be able to speak to the Bitcoin dev kit, and the way we're going to do that. Actually, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Right. So you can delete that commented line, and we're gonna start writing in there.
Okay.
When you create a wallet, are you familiar with wallet descriptors, output descriptors?
I am, but for the guys watching, we can go through that a little bit, maybe just very briefly. I think descriptors deserve a whole session of their own, to be fair. So.
Yeah, you'll need to get somebody on for a full hour and a half on wallet
Yeah.
descriptors.
Yeah, 100%.
But the beauty of them is that they are fully complete. They are self-sufficient. So in Bitcoin, particularly with the hierarchical deterministic wallets, there's a lot of places you can go. You always start from this master seed, right? We have this randomness we acquire, and then we sort of pack that into a set of 12 words or 24 words. But that initial seed, this entropy, needs to go somewhere to derive addresses. And prior to wall output descriptors, we've relied on standard ways to do it between developers and wallets to sort of like agree on where we were going to go. And so that's what BIP44, BIP84 is, for example. This is a BIP84 wallet that we're going to do, but you still had to hope that your wallet was going to do it according to that BIP, whereas an output descriptors is fully descriptive of everything it needs.
Okay.
So it's a way to provide a string that tells any given wallet exactly what you want, all the addresses you want to derive. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So we're going to create those.
Cool. Let's do it.
And the way you do that, first of all, you're going to need three variables. So in Kotlin, if you want to create a variable that's immutable, you're going to use the word val.
Okay.
Val keys. And then you want to give a type to that. You don't have to, but in this case, you'd want to give a type, and you can write extended key info with a capital E.
Okay, and the ID is nice enough to just give it to me out of the box. Okay, that's cool.
Did you see how it was picking it up from the Bitcoin dev kit there? It's telling you where it was coming from? Or Bitcoin dev kit?
Yeah, that's very nice.
That's cool.
Because we've imported it. Let me turn off Discord because that's going to annoy me. So we've imported it here. So sometimes in languages, like you import stuff like very specifically. Here the star is just like importing all things.
Yeah.
Does that really matter too much? Like,
yep, that's correct. I'm not a big fan of this this star. Usually I try to explicitly import, but the IDE sometimes will auto correct you if you're not or if you don't turn it off. If you import more than 5 symbols from a single library, it will just transform it into the star to save some lines. But yeah.
Okay.
So we have
this. So we have this extended key info type. Yep.
Yep. And then you want it to equal exactly generate extended key. Yeah. And exactly. Generate extended key, which is coming from the Bitcoin dev kit as well. And to that, you can see the little pop-up there. It's telling you you're going to need to provide a network, a mnemonic type, and a password.
Okay, so we have network as a enum, I'd imagine.
Yep.
So if we type in
network, see what comes up. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've got Bitcoin, regtest, signet, and testnet. Bitcoin being like the main, I guess. So we want to do testnet.
Yep.
The second parameter is a mnemonic type.
And the mnemonic type, you can, this one, sometimes I need to remind myself, but it's mnemonic type. It started with a capital M. Dot, and then words 12. Or you could, you could do words 4. Or,
Words 12. Okay, cool. So this creates a 12-word mnemonic for us. Cool, nice.
And then the next one is a password, which you should leave empty for us. So you could write null.
Cool.
Okay. And in Kotlin, one of the beauties of the language is that you don't need the semicolon. You can have them though, but not necessary.
Okay.
So you've got keys, and now we're going to create a descriptor and a change descriptor.
Okay.
You can do val descriptor.
And is that of type?
String.
That'll be a string. Oh yeah. Okay.
With a capital S. Yeah. String, and that's going to equal generate descriptor or create descriptor. Sorry, that's the
create descriptor.
Create descriptor.
Create descriptor. Okay, cool.
And you can provide the keys that you created on line 32.
Okay, so that takes a keys of type extended key. All right, nice.
Now you have a descriptor. And in theory, you could use that and create a whole wallet. But most wallets want also a change descriptor. Maybe that's for another conversation. But
yeah. So just as well, we covered descriptors a little bit in the episode with Raj. I think there's like a 5 or 10 minute segment in there where we covered descriptors very briefly. So feel free to watch that one back as well. Cool. So we have a descriptor. We want to change descriptor. So this is where all our when we send transactions in Bitcoin, we send all of our funds, and then we provide like change addresses which we own in order to get the change from that transaction. Is that fairly accurate?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So we want a change descriptor of type string as well.
Yep.
And I think I saw it earlier, wasn't it? It was change. Was it change? Create change descriptor. Okay, cool.
Descriptor.
Lovely. And then create change descriptor takes a extended key as well. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And I think that these two functions there, create descriptor and create change descriptor, are defined below. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
So one bug we're going to run into is that, do you see line 47 right now? Your create descriptor is not creating anything.
Yes. Okay. So it's taking those keys and it's not actually doing anything with
Yeah. The way you're going to create your descriptor is very, very similar to your change descriptor. So you can sort of copy paste line 52.
Line 52. Okay. Here we go. And replace this whole thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's walk through this a little bit.
And the difference you want to have is that the last one in that string should be a 0.
Like that? Mm-hmm. But this is so when we say a descriptor is a string, it's the what is the string made up? So we've got this like WPKH that takes in some string.
Mm-hmm.
Just very, very quickly, like what's the WPKH stand for?
The WPKH stands for Witness Public Key Hash, and so that's a BIP84 Bitch32 compatible wallet. It'll create. You're telling the wallet. In this case, it's the Bitcoin Dev Kit. You're telling the Bitcoin Dev Kit the series of addresses that will be generated out of this. I want them to be of this particular type.
Okay.
So that's why the output descriptors are so powerful. And this is a really simple one, right? But if you were to go and find a more complicated one, you can describe really complex behaviors, and the string just gets longer. But not right. It's not. Whereas with the typical BIP84, for example, there's nothing. How do you define a 4 out of 5 multi-sig with a time lock? That's not possible, right? It's very,
you'd have to write the actual Bitcoin script out, and it can be like very quite verbose and quite fiddly to define like complex spending policies. Whereas like this is just like a very simple string that gives you like you say a Betch32 compatible wallet. So there's different address types in Bitcoin, right? When you see Betch32, the alphanumeric string, the start of it starts with a BC1 if you're on mainnet, and TBC1 if you're on testnet, I guess. And there's also support for other type of addresses as well, but Betch32 is the kind of standard that we want to implement kind of going forward, I guess. So.
Yeah.
And then we've got like this. So So sorry to cut you off. So yeah, so we said we want a Base32 wallet, and then this keys object has a XPRV property on it. XPRV, what is that?
And that's your xpriv or xpub, which are like the core of how you start these wallets, or like the initial the initial starting point, the I think it's called the master seed or the root seed, the BIP32 root seed. Yeah.
Cool.
Root node. Yeah. And so you're providing that, and then not only do you provide that, but you also give it a path. You say, this is where I want to go. And you can see that the end of this path there ends with a star. And that's telling the descriptor that you want as many addresses as you need generated at that location. So that star will be, when the Bitcoin DevKit starts generating addresses for you, it'll actually transform them into 1, 2, 3, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to millions if you need.
Okay, so this is like it's almost like is it like a tree-like structure? So when you want to access the value at a certain address, you can like literally pinpoint it by like following the path, or the leaf in that tree, which is like represented by this path.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why interoperability is difficult, because those in this case are well defined by the BIP, but there's a lot of like complex structures, multi-figs, that are not well defined. So like if you lose them, you got to know what the path was, because you might be able to have your initial starting point, right? You might have your xpriv on it, but if you don't know the path to get to that leaf, you'll never recreate the address, and you won't be able to recover the funds. So interoperability is important, and output descriptors enable that, or make it a lot easier. What's harder about them is that they're a string. So now you got to buy a string, whereas pure BIP84 gives you 12 words and you're good to go.
Okay.
Whereas this is a full string, you got to back up.
Okay. All right. Cool. I think we've gone into descriptors quite nicely there. Yeah. So all right, where are we heading next?
So now we've got a descriptor, we've got a change descriptor, and we're going to initialize this wallet. So the next thing I want us to do was in this create wallet method that you had.
Create wallet is up here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can fire up the initialize method, which is actually defined right below. Yeah. Initialize, and then provide a descriptor and a change descriptor, which, yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
But Sudo is very, very smart, isn't it?
Yeah, the idea is phenomenal once you know how to leverage it.
Yeah. Okay.
And this initialize method there doesn't have anything.
It doesn't have anything
on line 39.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. We haven't. Yeah.
So you're going to need to define that as well. And there we're going to leverage the Bitcoin DevKit as well, even more.
Okay.
For that, we're going to need two variables, a database and a blockchain.
Database. Cool. What type do we want this to be?
I can't remember what the type is. It's like a config database.
Like database config?
Yeah. So, equal. And then you could do database config .sled. Maybe with a capital.
Is it capital D?
Yeah.
So that's the type. So database config .sled.
Sled is a type of database that the Bitcoin DevKit uses on the Rust side.
Right. Got you.
Yep.
Okay.
And in that, you can open parentheses, and you're going to pass in a SledDB configuration.
SledDB configuration, sure.
You need a path, basically a location for that file, and I have it defined further above, so you can just write name path. Sorry.
Path we defined as a
line 17.
Path. Here, yeah.
Mhm.
And then we defined it here, set path. Okay, cool.
That will be done by the Android application. When it starts, it'll just like generate one and give one to you.
Okay, I need to go back to initialize. Okay, cool. Wait, what path is it actually set to though? Is
It will be set to a given path that the application will generate for you when it starts. And it's
okay.
related to like where you want to store a particular piece of data, in this case, the database.
Right, got
So
you.
what it's on startup that the OS will decide for you, like somewhere.
Okay, got you.
So you need to give it a path and a name.
Okay.
And the name is defined above as well. So I think you could just say name. Yeah.
Cool. The name is defined. Certificate test. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Cool.
Those two. So now you have a database, and you need a blockchain as well.
Okay, I'm just looking in the chat. Give me a second because I think we've lost we've lost some of our people. I'm getting messages saying that we're having problems streaming on Twitch. This may be an issue on Twitch's end. Blah 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 blah. Okay, we're still rolling anyway. We're still recording. So maybe that blah blah blah. Okay, maybe that was rolling anyway. Self out. Okay, cool. So I've given it a name. Sorry, I've given it a name. What do I want to do now?
Now you want to open a new line, next line. You can remove that comma if you want.
Okay.
And the next line will be a data blockchain. So val blockchain. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to provide a blockchain config.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing, blockchain config.electrum. So we're going to use an Electrum server in this case. And I think it's capital E.
Oh, is it capital? Oh, yeah.
It's happening. I don't know why it's not picking it up.
Yeah, no, I did pick it up there. It did. And then we pass in a config of type electric config. I see we have this Electrum URL.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
part of it? So
okay.
We can pass it an Electrum config. Yep.
Yeah.
With the URL defined above, which was called Electrum URL.
Okay, yeah, Electrum URL.
Yep. And then the next one is a SOX 5, which you can set to null.
SOX 5, no. Or just null.
Or just null. Kotlin allows you to do named parameters like that.
Named parameters, yeah.
Easier, yeah.
Okay.
And your next one is 5 with a U. So 5U. It's an unsigned.
5 is in letters?
Just the integer one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Timeout of null.
Null, timeout of null, and stopgap.
Stopgap of 10. 10B. Fine. 10U. Again, it's an unsigned. U long.
Okay.
You'll need a little U after, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So now you have a database and a blockchain, and you're ready to actually fire up a wallet object, which is like the core of the Bitcoin dev kit. And after that, it'll just be available.
I think the people them are back. I think, so we're getting some reports that the stream had frozen, but we're back now. Okay. That's good. That's a first. The show must continue though. So
the show must go on. It's too awesome. Twitch was like mind blowing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. What are we doing now?
The next part is to actually create a wallet, and you have in Kotlin what's called a late init. That a variable is defined above at the very top, and late init wallet. Yeah. So that's saying I'm gonna put somewhere in there at some point, but it's not ready when you fire up the object. And that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna actually put something in there in this wallet variable. And you know that it has to be of type online wallet.
Got you. Okay.
Bitcoin DevKit also offers you an offline wallet type where you could have maybe like a hardware device or something that would never be connected to the internet. But in this case, we want an online wallet. So you can do wallet equals.
Is this this isn't a variable, is it?
No, it's a variable, so no capital.
Oh yeah, so we're referring to this wallet here. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a name collision there. I shouldn't have named it wallet.
Yeah, no worries. And this has, what does this have on it?
And then you want to make it equal an online wallet, which is a type, again, yeah, that's provided in the Bitcoin dev kit. And you're going to need these 5 items: a descriptor, change descriptor, a network, a database, and a blockchain. And you have all of those.
We have all of those, right? So we want network to be type testnet.
No, actually, in this case, it's already. Oh yeah, no, sorry, you're right.
Am I right?
But your second argument should be a change descriptor.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Missed that. Okay. So descriptor, change descriptor. Third parameter is network, testnet. Next one is our database, just database that we've defined. Yep. Next one is our blockchain that we've defined, or where we're sourcing blockchain data, in this instance, Electrum.
Exactly.
Specifically. Okay.
Exactly. And that's it. So this initialize method I've separated from our create wallet, because it'll be also for if you want to recover a wallet. If you want to recover a wallet, you're not going to need to go to the Bitcoin dev kit to create initial like entropy. You already have your mnemonic, but once you have that, you can generate a descriptor and a change descriptor, but you're going to need to still initialize the wallet. So that's why it's.
So just to be super clear as well, like basically created a wallet in, what is this, like 6-7 lines of code? That's kind of outrageous, to be honest.
Isn't it?
I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even have to type anything either. Like it's, I'm like typing one letter and it's like, that's what you want, isn't it? Like, yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a secret here, although what's happening is that the Bitcoin dev kit at the moment, the language bindings, because of the library we're using, the Mozilla library that creates the glue between the two languages, doesn't auto-generate documentation for us. So this IDE is really important for you, and it's amazing that it works so well. It reads into the library, and it just helps you out.
So you mean like when we have like some of our functions, like I don't know, I guess Electrum, like it gives us some. It doesn't really give us like what it does. It kind of gives us this
exactly
where it's the package to which it belongs, but not much more else than that.
So whereas on the Rust side, if you look at the Bitcoin dev kit, the docs are auto-generated. They're gorgeous. They really go deep. For Kotlin, we're going to have to, at the moment, either write some of that manually or rely more on the IDE. But if you want to see something cool, you can actually look at the source code for example, the blockchain config there by hitting command and clicking. And that's the glue code that's being generated by the language bindings. And that, my friend, does not look anything like a Kotlin library.
Yeah. Okay. So this is all like auto-generated. Like
that's right. We didn't write any of that.
Yeah, we didn't write any of this. But it seems that on the surface, it's still very much in line with like the flavor of how Kotlin is written.
That's right. From a user perspective, even know. Yeah. It's if you dive into the source code, you realize that the glue is kind of like, whoa, it's got a bunch of stuff because it needs to connect to Rust objects and interoperate properly. And that's where like the magic happens, but also that's where it gets messy real quick.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right.
So we got that. And I think that at this point, you've created the descriptor, you've initialized the wallet, and you have the create wallet. So if you try restarting the app, you should get it.
Do I just do run app again?
Yep. Try that.
Okay. How are we doing in the chat? We're hanging in there. We had a little blip, but seems like we're back. Good stuff. Eski's in the building. Nice one, man. All right, we're up and running again.
Try to create a new wallet.
Let's see what happens. Okay.
And now if you look for the recovery phrase, I wonder if you'll have one.
So recovery phrase. Okay.
We're missing a little piece there. I know exactly what we're missing.
Okay, cool.
That's good. That's what this stream is for, right?
Yeah, okay.
So in my create wallet, in your create wallet method there, line 36.
Line 36, yep. There's
something else we want to do after. At this point, these descriptors and change descriptors have not been saved for external use in the app, and we want to use a design pattern called a repository, and Android uses that a lot, where the repository is sort of this object that handles a lot of like the little queries or access to data. So it's like a data layer. If you need to connect to some sort of database or anything like that, you're going to need to speak to the repository. And we haven't told this repository what our descriptors and change descriptors were, so that's why it's not picking it up.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't update the UI. That's coming. That's gonna give us a second. Give us a second. We're gonna the seed phase is gonna appear very momentarily. So okay.
So try if you take repository with a capital R.
Yeah.
Repository dot save wallet.
Save wallet. Is it sorry? So is this part of BDK as well?
No. This is if you wanted to have a look at my repository file, it's in the wallet.
Oh, this is just another class. Okay. Cool. And then
repository typically will make calls to APIs, databases. It'll do a lot of like caching, so that the UI elements don't need to worry about where things are coming from. They let the repository handle all of that. So here I'm saving the mnemonic. I'm doing a bunch of little things with it.
Cool. That makes sense to me. That makes sense.
So you want to save the wallet, and you can provide path descriptor and change descriptor to that. Yeah, and then another line where you do repository dot save mnemonic.
And does it take the same? Oh no, this just takes a mnemonic. Okay.
A string, and so that's our key object. Keys dot mnemonic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And now if you restart the app, I think we should have it.
Okay, let's try and refire it up. It also builds quite quickly, actually. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you must have a good computer.
Yeah. Okay, create new wallet and recovery phrase. Okay, boom.
Nice.
Boom, look at that. We've got a recovery phrase. Don't go writing this down, guys. Like, it's only on testnet. Don't get too excited or anything. But we do have a 12-word. We defined a 12-word mnemonic, didn't we? Yeah, cool. So we now have a 12-word mnemonic. Awesome.
And the rest of it should be not too bad. Trying to see for time here.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, we've officially got 10 minutes, but let's straddle on and see where we get to.
If you go back to the wallet,
wallet choice fragment.
Yep, so that's good. And now I should go to your project files. And you should see in there, there's a wallet directory in the Java portion where the Kotlin code is.
Let me close a few of these. The Java, and then we have a wallet folder, and then we have, what was that?
I have a receive fragment there.
Receive fragment, got you. Okay.
And in there.
Okay, so it seems like this pattern is like it's very similar across all your fragments. You define this. You define this kind of on create view. You bind it. You then.
And then I set up my.
Okay, you got your listeners and stuff here. Okay, cool.
And I've got a button called generate new address button, line 45.
Generate new address button. Okay. Right, let me just have a look at what I'm looking at from a UI point of view. So if I go to receive in actual app, let's see.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Just so I know what I'm looking at. So receive. So we have this binding to the receive to wallet button. That's got an event listener. And then we've also got this generate new address button, which is this one. Okay, cool. That's pretty straightforward. All right.
And whenever you click on that button, it will use the display new address method, which is defined just below.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. And there, at this point, line 53, see, I hard-coded a string in there. But you wanna use a method that we will define in the wallet class.
Cool. Okay.
So you can delete that, not the whole line, but just the string there.
Just this. Yeah.
Yeah. Even the double
okay,
quotes.
even the quotes, yeah.
And then you would do wallet, actually capital, because you want to use that one object we've defined.
Yeah.
Wallet dot get last unused address or generate. Is it?
Yeah. So we have get new address.
Try get. So I think we haven't defined it in the wallet class. So you could go into the wallet class and we'll actually write it. It's a 3-line thing, but.
Okay. Should we just do at the
very
here?
bottom? Yeah. Very, very bottom. See Twitch stream with Connor, or yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so we've got it already. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. All right. So we've got a last unused address. So this is going to be a function that returns a string, I'd imagine. And
then we're calling. Yeah.
Well, what are we calling on wallet? Okay, there we go.
There you go. And I think notice that whenever you use wallet, that's really your call to the Bitcoin Dev Kit. So that wallet variable there, I think maybe a better name for it would be BDK. But I don't know because it's not always the way you use it. But it could be BDK dot get last unused address, and that's what's gonna be whatever returns from that. That's what we're returning from the get last unused address method.
Nice.
And note that that's just a little wrapper on my library, right? So that the fragment doesn't have to know about the Bitcoin Dev Kit, because otherwise the fragment would have to communicate with the Bitcoin Dev Kit directly. In this case, it doesn't.
You mean here, right? We'd have to import. Oh, well, do we have any stuff that's doing BDK stuff here? No, we don't.
Only
and that's because it's encapsulated in the wallet singleton.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. We create this sort of separation. Nobody knows about the Bitcoin Dev Kit except for this wallet class. Nice. And then now you've defined it, so you should be able to just do a get last unused address. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Neat. And then the rest is it'll log it into Logcat, and line 55 is for the QR code. And the first
so QR code, QRG encoder, that's like a separate Kotlin package or Maven package that does QR codey stuff. Cool. All right.
And my variable that is currently displaying, you want to replace that with a new generated address, and it's it's Rick there. It's the first argument.
So down here?
No, on line 55.
Line 55, we have Rick.
Yeah.
We want to place that with the new generated address,
That's right. Yeah.
Neat.
That's our little Easter egg for the episode.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm actually. What? Let me not go there. We'll get it after. Okay, so this will take in our new generated address, which is a Batch32 address, do a QR encoding of it, and
also displayed on the screen.
And display on the screen. Cool.
If you look at my line 64, that's where on the screen is being generated. Again, I'm using my binding, and I've got a receive address text box, and I use the text property on it, and I set it to be new generated address.
Nice.
So let's see if it works.
Okay, do it. So, and I have to rebuild it each time that I make a change?
In this case, no, you might be able to hit the little green arrow with an A, or with a triangle.
Green arrow with an A.
Just to the left, just a bit higher. This one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, is that kind of like, okay, that's like reload type of thing.
Like hot reload, yeah.
Hot reload, yeah. Oh, we're in. So we've got our lovely QR code, and we've got our test batch32 address.
That's right. Leave it on the screen. Or folks, if you're watching this Twitch stream, it's time. Send your testnet coins to this.
Yeah, send them. We want those testnet sats.
I'm gonna.
Esky, come on, man! Like, come on, man! It's been a rough week, man. I need those sats, man. I need
those
some
testnet sats.
Yeah, I need them testnet sats.
I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah, need some stats again. Again, to highlight, that was really really straightforward, wasn't it? So just to go back, we used this get last unused address. Like once you have like this wallet instance, like you can just do like loads of stuff. Like some of the stuff we've not even looked at, like sign-in transactions and broadcasting. They're just a method away.
A method away, yeah.
Yeah, very, very
and
nice.
And I don't want to. I wouldn't want people to think that actually the Bitcoin Dev Kit only offers like simple things. You can go, you can do the real thing. Like it opens up so many things to you, and you can really do it. You can go all the way, but there's also a range of like really simple things, and the beauty is that you can rely again on, the fact that this library is just firing. It's always up to date. Lots of people working on it. Bugs are being squashed. It releases every 6 weeks. Like, we don't talk about this, but like maintaining libraries is a lot of work, and it's not all languages that can do that reliably, right? So it's very hard to do, especially to keep up with Bitcoin right now. So yeah, you want libraries.
So what's going on in the chat? Has anyone sent us any test sets? Let's see. Maybe I've got to do a reload. Let's see.
I'm not sure if your sync is enabled. I might have disabled the sync, so I don't know if it'll work.
Let's see.
Even if.
Let's see.
But let me see if I can send you some.
Yeah, let's give it a go. If not, I guess we will have to write that very quickly. So we are coming to the end. We'll go for a few more minutes. See if we can get 1 or 2 more things done. But yeah, this has been super interesting. I'm starting to consider, do I want to be an Android dev, man? This is kind of like, I didn't have to do anything. I'm just like typing a couple of words, enter, typing a couple of words, enter. I know what the API is doing, and like I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool.
I'll tell you, yeah. And mobile devices, my opinion on mobile devices is that we're going to see just more and more and more of them. Like if anybody under 20, man, you would not separate me from my laptop, but a lot of people under 20, they just like bring their cell phones everywhere. They don't care. The cell phone is where it's at. Your mobile has your whole life in it. So I think applications are going to be more and more powerful and important. Take a look at the receive button, and I'll try to send you coins.
Okay.
I got some here, so
generate a new one.
Yeah. In this case, it's kind of neat because the Bitcoin Dev Kit allows you to either generate a new address so the index increases, or just a last unused one. So if no testnet coins have been sent to it.
I just realized I'm shouting at everyone to send to send me some sats, and I've not actually given you the address, have I? So let me actually type it in the chat so you can actually attempt to do that. So there you go. So, and let me answer a quick question. So when we restart the app, to activate the existing wallet, we need to write some code for it, right? So when let me repeat that again. So when we restart the app, to activate the existing wallet, we need to write some code for it. Yeah. So I'm just thinking, if we go back to wallet.
No, or if I understand this question correctly, what's happening right now is that we're saving the mnemonic inside a structure in Android that's called the shared preferences. And shared preferences will be able to reload that mnemonic the next time you open up the app. So there's no, you could like kill the app upon return. It would know the wallet you're using. It would reload that same one until you go and delete it. I've sent you some testnet coins. Try to sync, see if it works or crashes the app.
Oh wow, we got some sats. Look at that. Look at that, man. We got, what's that, 20,000? 20,000 sats? Man, that's crazy. But where's the rest of it? Where's like, I'm looking in the chat and I'm like, where's the rest of it, man? Come on, like you guys, man, you guys are stingy. But okay, I've just crashed it because transaction history we've not implemented yet. But okay, so I've crashed it, reload it. If I sync again, okay, cool. Got our 20,000 sats there.
And we've got the send as well. If you have time, you want to do the send, we can do the send. Otherwise, we can leave it for another episode or whatnot. There's like wallet recovery. There's tons of stuff you can do with the Bitcoin Dev Kit. It's so cool. I mean, we've gotten just 2 small, tiny things, but hopefully showing how easy it is.
Yeah. Okay. So we will stop there. Just in respecting everyone's time and stuff, and maybe like answer a few last questions to finish. But like maybe as some homework, you know how to clone the repo and check out the branch. Maybe homework for you guys is to see if you can implement the send functionality for this without obviously cheating and looking at the main branches that have already implemented this. Like maybe go away and do that as a homework exercise. You've seen how easily or how fairly quickly, like we've been coding for just over an hour, like, and we've been able to like set up a Bitcoin wallet that is receiving, or setting up a Bitcoin wallet that's receiving addresses. Granted, we have all the skeleton in place for us already, but the very core part of it is pretty straightforward and pretty quick to do. So yeah, man, this has been a great stream. I really enjoyed this one. This has been awesome. So we'll definitely have to do further streams, further sessions to explore the library even more.
Cheers.
Anyone in the chat, has anyone got any kind of last questions? Awesome stuff, guys. Really learned a lot. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the knowledge. Can I do this on an iOS device?
Yeah, man. That's the beauty of it. Come check out the ecosystem. Like the whole Bitcoin Dev Kit ecosystem has a lot of repositories, and one of them is called BDK iOS. So you'll be able to, one of the maintainers, Steve Myers, has been maintaining that side of things, and I think he got it all working as well. So it's awesome.
Cool. Any other questions before we wrap up here? No? Okay, all good. Well, you can reach out to me like on Twitter or Thunderbiscuit on Twitter as well if you have any more questions. Like I say, like be sure to clone the repo and have a little play around with yourself. That didn't quite sound quite right, but have a little play around. And let us know what you think of the library. So again, Thunderbiscuit, thanks for your time, and see you guys in the next one.
It was a pleasure. Peace. Thanks for having me on the show.
That's all.